Welcome to Roseflower Radio, the show that goes behind the scenes of your favorite independent artists and creatives. I'm your co-host, Micah Wilson.
And I'm your co-host, Finlay Matthias. And with us today, we have a hyperpop alternative singer, songwriter,
All the above.
recent producer, and we'll get into that. With us today, we have Eleanor Kingston. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, a little bit of traffic this evening, but it's Friday.
LA, bro.
It's Friday. It's Friday evening in LA.
Yeah, thanks for giving up your Friday night.
No,
I know that you
please.
could be out on the town.
No, I
Running
don't. I stay at home.
Really?
Playing shows,
Mainly.
that type of thing.
Yeah,
Sick.
mainly at home.
Sick. Well, let's just jump right into it. So, you said you've lived in LA for 3 years. So, what's the best experience, worst experience thus far of living here?
Oh man, I mean, best is definitely the people.
Yeah.
The atmosphere. I just think LA kind of goes to the tune of its own horn.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, in a way that is super unique, and it's just super fitting to who I am as a person. You know. Oat milk lattes, stuff like that.
Do you get no milk latte? Is that
all
the
the
usual?
time?
No
Yeah.
dairy, no actual dairy.
No. I try to not do dairy, but I do it sometimes.
That's fair.
And then worst. It's crazy because it's also sometimes the people.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
There seems to be a recurring
Yes.
theme of people we've had. It's
Yeah.
just, the people of LA seem to be both the highs and the lows.
Yeah, you either meet the best people ever or just
Yeah.
the worst people
Yeah.
ever, and there's no in between.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's crazy because I've loved it so far. I don't have specific
Yeah.
experiences. Maybe relationships have been tough here.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the worst.
Yeah, I feel like
but-
everyone has an idea as to where their life is going.
Uh-huh.
And if your idea doesn't match up with that,
Yeah.
they're very, very happy to kind of cast you to the side whenever
Uh-huh.
it's needed. Everybody's really driven
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So if you can't align with their drive and what they see for themselves,
Yeah.
it's very hard to kind of find committed people.
Yeah.
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 That's true.
I think,
And you're from Utah
Yes.
originally.
I'm from Park City, Utah.
Where's Park
Okay.
City?
It's near Salt Lake. It's if you're in the canyon that connects it, it's
The
20
canyon.
minutes.
You're from the
15 minutes.
canyon.
Yeah.
Dang.
kind of. Yeah.
How many people live in... I already forgot the name of it. What is
Park
it?
City?
Park City.
I honestly have no clue. It's grown a lot.
It's not like a tiny town.
Not anymore.
Okay.
I mean, we moved there right before the Olympics, and I'd say the Olympics caused a huge boom
Yeah.
in the population.
The
but-
Olympics.
Yeah.
The Olympics were in Utah?
Yeah, they
What-
were in Salt Lake, I think 2001 or 2002.
I think it would have been 2002
Yeah, 2002,
or
yeah.
1998. So 2002.
2002 they were in Salt Lake,
Dang,
but
I didn't know that.
yeah.
I can't tell you the last time I watched the Olympics, honestly.
Bro, I don't think anybody watches the Olympics.
It's cool. but
I
like-
watch the diving, the sprinting,
yeah.
the swimming, but now Michael Phelps is gone.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes
the
not.
GOAT, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, Usain Bolt's gone. So honestly, I don't think I even watched the sprinting last time either.
Yeah. I mean,
No, the Olympics are low-key kind of dead.
it's such a cool thing, though.
It's a cool idea. I feel like it doesn't do as well
Are we
as it
canceling
could.
the Olympics?
Yeah, we're going to cancel the Olympics.
cancel Olympics.
Oh gosh.
We have the authority to do that.
Yeah, I forgot that we do.
Don't
So-
tell my brother. He's training for the Olympics.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
For what event?
He's a slopestyle skier.
Shut
and
up.
He's 14. He just spent a month in New Zealand training.
No way.
He's crazy. He's throwing down tricks that people don't throw till they're 17.
So
18.
did you ski growing up in Utah?
Yes. Yeah. I've been a
Ski or
skier.
snowboard?
Skier.
Okay.
I tried to snowboard. It's really painful when
That's-
you're
when
starting.
you fall
it.
down, it hurts.
Falling on your tailbone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Horrible. I grew up in
Um,
Colorado, so
Oh, cool.
I've been on the Rockies. I've been skiing my entire life.
That's awesome.
So-
what part of Colorado?
Kind of Golden, which is
Uh-huh.
basically I would say is the westmost town before you get to it's a little bit south of Boulder,
Okay.
if you know where that is.
Yeah, of
If you-
course.
But yeah, I love skiing, so that's
That's
cool that you do that.
awesome. That's so cool.
I lived in Canada in Calgary, and I skied a little bit there.
I would
My
love to
mom
ski
tells
with you,
a
bro.
story of me. My first ski lesson, they were at the bottom of the slope in the cafe or whatever, and she'd put me in a bright yellow outfit so she could see me on the slopes. And she describes a bright yellow missile just flying down the slopes. I lost control and I was just
You
Of
just go as
course.
fast as you
straight
can. That's
as
awesome.
fast as I could. But so did you, as a family, did you guys do music growing up?
So
Uh,
not really. I mean, my parents were super big into do everything. Like they
Okay.
wanted us to try every sport. They wanted
Yeah.
us to learn, instruments. They wanted us to do a bit of like acting and painting and just all of it. But me and my younger brother, Buppy, are the ones who really took to music. But I don't think we were the type of kids who would do the piano lessons and wouldn't get super
Yeah,
inspired
you're
or
like,
super
it's-
into
yeah.
it. It was
yeah.
really like once we found that we really liked writing, or at least for me, it was more writing based. I just loved poetry. I loved storytelling. And that's kind of where I found music. And then I fell in love with like the production side. And I want to learn a ton of instruments now, but I had to find that connection
Like
to
your
it.
way in a way.
Yeah, I had to find exactly like a connection, something emotional to me instead of like, oh, learn piano because you have to.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
hard for me.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Buppy because I saw him at that show when I
Yeah.
first met you.
Uh-huh.
But like, so between the two of you, like, who like started doing music first? Did the other one pick up on it, or was it like kind of separate ventures?
It was kind of separate. I mean, who did it first was Hit. I mean, he was 12 and he was a gamer.
Oh, there
and
you go.
He hated the music that played while he was gaming, so he wanted to
Okay.
create his own soundtrack
so
to
cool.
get into.
That's really cool. That's
And
interesting.
Yeah, so he started when he was like 12, and I didn't get into it. I mean, I was always writing and singing, but I didn't get into making my own music till I was around 17.
Yeah.
But I started doing it more professionally in LA first.
Okay.
And then he
Gotcha.
kind of saw, oh, wow, like this is what I could be doing.
Totally.
This is what I
Yeah.
could pursue. And then he went. So we inspired each other a
Yeah.
lot.
At what point
Yeah.
did you start working together then? If it was two separate come ups and like discoveries of music, do you remember like was there a point where you kind of were like, well, hey, we're siblings, we might as well, or did it just
Yeah.
kind of happen over time?
He, in COVID, so I had lived here for like 8 months before COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, I lived alone for a few months. And then he, obviously school was online. And so he and my older brother decided to move in with me in LA. And that's when he linked up with the producer I had been working with in LA. And then he was linking me up with producers he was working with. So naturally, we just started working together with those producers on projects.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it was pretty natural, but we definitely didn't always make music together because we are very different stylistically.
Yeah.
But it's so fun. I mean, we're working on a lot of songs now together that will come out next year. And it's just cool to blend the styles. And we had to do a lot of growth on our own.
Yeah. Before we
could
come together.
merge.
Yeah. Do you think there was maybe like I know having worked with my sibling, my older sister is also, or she used to be a singer musician. She played piano. Did you feel like there was maybe a maturity level you both had to hit before you could comfortably sit and make music together and be like that open with each other?
Yeah, definitely. I think just in terms of like respecting each other too as artists, because like he is so passionate about putting out a song that he believes in. He wants to like grab the computer and do certain things himself, and if he doesn't like something that I do, he will tell me. If I don't think
that's what
he's
you need out of a collaborator.
Exactly. So we had to like kind of not take things personally and like grow into, okay, you're trying to make me a better artist. I'm trying to make you a better artist, and like have that respect there that I think sometimes siblings might not have.
Yeah.
They'll be like,
I was about to
you're
say,
just my brother. No.
Yeah. If I
like,
found out like my sisters.
Yeah.
Wait. First off, you said you mentioned an older brother. You mentioned Puppy, and then you also mentioned a younger brother.
I have 3 brothers.
Okay.
I have 3 sisters.
Cool.
And you're the second oldest?
Yeah.
I'm
You're
giving
the
you,
second
come on,
oldest.
Come on.
We're
And we
so
both
similar.
ski? Bro, come on.
Colorado and Utah.
Hey, man. That's
Not
what's
so
up.
different after all.
I know. I
Yeah.
get slander for being from Colorado out here.
Oh, I give him
Of
a lot.
course.
You know,
I give you a lot for
super
being from Britain.
British.
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 You're English.
You're from the UK?
It's a long story.
I was Sorry, I was born in Texas. My parents are British.
Me too.
Dope.
Yeah.
From where?
My dad is from Bristol and Bath.
Cool. My sister used to live in Bristol. She just moved from there, actually, to
Wow.
London. But parents are British. I was born in Texas. My brother was born in Canada when we lived there.
No, just pick a place.
And
bro.
then I grew up in Indonesia, is where I spent most
wow.
of my life. And then high school in Edinburgh in the UK before I then
Wow.
moved here.
Did you move here alone or with your family?
Yes. No, yeah. I moved here alone less than 48 hours after I turned 18.
Wow.
Yeah, I turned 18 the 25th of September. I moved here the 27th.
You knew you just wanted to go.
Yeah, I was trying to get out of there. You know, I was bored of Edinburgh at that point. You know, like I worked the festival a few times. I had some skills, and I had some friends, and I'd seen this college here that I wanted to go to, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. And I had an American passport, so no international school fees, none of that. I can just apply as an American citizen, as an American student. Beautiful.
That's awesome.
It was great. But you mentioned a producer that you worked with and your brother also started working with. Was that Cole?
Yeah, Cole.
Cole. Yeah. How did you meet Cole?
I love Cole. He's like my best friend. I met him on the doorstep of my apartment building. So crazy. I was just getting off work. I had a friend who lived in my apartment building, and she's also a musician, and she met Cole at like their gym nearby. It was just very odd, like how it connected. And then he was going over to her house. He had gotten out of his Uber at the same time that I got out of my Uber coming back from work.
Nice.
And like we just met on the steps of the apartment building, and then they invited me over to come hang out.
Wow, so you just walked into his house.
Yeah, I don't think I would have ever met him if we didn't randomly collide in that moment.
I feel like LA is full of those really weird connections from random people.
Yes.
Like we had an artist on a few months ago. Her closest producer, they met because he was a DoorDash driver and she was the server at a restaurant that he kept coming to pick up food. And over time, they started talking and realized they were both musicians.
That's sick.
And now work literally every day together.
That's so
in the
cool.
studio.
Weird. Like what the hell?
Yeah, I think because there's so many creative people doing so many creative and non-creative things to get by and to grow themselves.
Yeah.
That just if you talk to anyone, you probably have something in common. You know somebody in common.
Yeah.
You do something in common.
Yeah.
Like, you were saying the people of LA, there's just so many random connections you make.
Yeah.
So did Cole produce Don't Cry?
He did not.
He did not.
That was Harry. He's Harry Myers. He goes by Harry Was Here.
Harry Was Here.
Is his artist project. Also just one of the most talented people I've ever met, worked with. Like I think all of the producers I've had the pleasure of working with bring something out of me artistically that I didn't know was there.
Mm-hmm.
And for him, it's that alternative approach where like every time I'm in a session with him, he does something insane.
Like do a beat cut, like beat switch halfway through, and then it's Hyperpop or something.
He had the vision for Don't Cry.
Yeah.
He said he had been wanting to make a song like that, where the beat switches halfway through, and it's just like some crazy hyperpop.
Yeah, from like the most angelic sounding thing ever.
Yeah.
Because that was the first song I heard of you, and I heard from you, and that was because I remember I was like just watching like people who were like, I was going through stories at the show. And I think Buppy reposted yours or something, and I was like, "Who's this?" And then like I, just low key stalked you. Sorry, but just like just like checking out like what you did and stuff. And I heard "Don't Cry" and I was like, "What in the world?" Like that's such a cool like juxtaposition. And I know you've done a ton of music, so my follow-up question with that is, I know now with the new single and a bunch of things you're starting to produce for yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Would you say that being an artist, being like your own, like songwriter, your own human being, like a lot of people produce just for themselves and just do that, or other people only do other producers and stuff. Is there a reason why you've switched to it being you, like starting to do production just because you want to get into it? Or like, what was the reason for that switch?
Yeah, I mean, I love working with other people and collaborating. I think it's like such a special moment where you're learning from them,
Yeah.
they're learning from you, you're being inspired off of each other. But I started making music alone in my room, and it sounded crap. It was horrible.
Garage
but it
band
was super,
moments.
it was super like honest and real, and I was able to tell the story that I really wanted to tell without being influenced, which can also be super like inspiring in its own way and super helpful just to like cleanse yourself of the exact emotion you're feeling. And I found that sometimes I couldn't get out exactly how I felt just by like lyricism. I was like, I'm itching for more. I'm itching to be able to put this sadness or this excitement or whatever the emotion is into what you hear musically. Too, because, you know, some of my best friends are producers, and they make their beat based on like how they feel too. It's not just like, oh, this sounds cool. They're doing it because it's like what they feel inside, and then they're just bringing it into chords or whatever.
That's so cool. Yeah.
And I wanted to experience that, and I also just wanted to like keep learning. And I think my favorite musicians were crazy people who knew how to produce like a beast, who knew how to play the piano like a beast, who knew how to write, who had crazy vocal cords, and they were all around just like insane. And I always want to strive to be better, and I want to be as into music as I can. I want to know chords. I want to know, and I still have a long way to go. But I want to be like a full-fledged musician.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, so that was where my drive came for that. So actually Muse for my art, I like composed the whole thing in my room.
That's so
and then I brought it to Cole, who then made it just the beauty that it is now.
I love that song, by the way.
Thank
you. It was a switch up from your normal stuff, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. I love when artists kind of like change, and like I love when as humans, I feel like we all just change over time. And we're also in that phase of like growing up where like you kind of just are like, I don't know, you're living by yourself, or, you know, living wherever, away from parents and all that. And you're just kind of trying to figure stuff out. And in life, you're changing and growing. And then sonically, you can like implement that and also change and grow. Yeah. So I think that's cool. And you also mentioned crazy artists. Name them.
I mean, my favorite artist of all time, I've said this like in every interview, so it probably gets old, but Halsey. I love Halsey so much.
She's a beast.
As a genre bender, I love her. As someone who doesn't care how something's going to perform, I love her. As someone who's just like can tell an authentic story no matter what the song sounds like, I love her. I love Prince.
Yeah.
Like, so talented. I love Frank Ocean.
Gotcha.
I love Brockhampton. There's so many people.
I didn't mean for you to just go through the whole...
Like, I noticed you didn't say Buppy. I'm going to go ahead and...
I love Buppy.
I'm going to put that on the record. Caught there. Caught in 4K.
No, I think my brother is definitely my favorite artist, just because I know his story.
Well, now you feel forced to say that. No, I'm just kidding. But that's cool. Yeah. And have you seen Halsey's the visual like movie? I don't even know what to call it.
I wanted to see it. I know it was in theaters.
I think it's on HBO. I might be wrong.
It is now.
I watched it. It was crazy.
It's good.
She like gives birth to herself. Like it's crazy.
I'm sorry.
You
what?
heard me exactly.
I'm sorry. What? I don't. What's the content? What's happening?
So Halsey made I don't even know.
I'm not into Halsey, unfortunately. Okay, I'm not. Okay. I don't really know what's going on.
She made this video. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like this whole like story, like kind of like Game of Thrones-esque, like where she's like a prince. Wow, she's a princess, and you know she's like, I don't know. I don't even know the story, but she's like a queen. I remember watching it, but it was like so out there. So when you were saying like, I know crazy artists, like I can like Halsey is crazy cool.
She's
like,
really crazy.
Yeah, there's a scene of her giving like birth to herself or whatever, but it's like a demon version.
Because she made it when she was pregnant, I think.
That's what.
Yeah,
she was pregnant. Yeah.
Yeah. So her
shout
whole
out to the kid, man. No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, so Micah kind of mentioned that Muse for my art is kind of little bit different to some of your older stuff.
Mhm.
Do you feel like that's the new sound that you're moving towards, or are you still just maybe just experimenting and finding what's right for you?
I'm definitely experimenting a lot. I don't think that's like the exact sound that everything else will sound like.
Yeah.
I want to constantly be changing the genres
Yeah.
and just the sounds I use, but I love that sound and I want to keep making that indie rock type stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think all of it moving forward will be that. I love making alternative, like left of center music.
Yes.
It's so special. But I also do have like a yearning. I like that pop stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a guilty. Everyone like low key.
I love it. So I want to do both. I want to be able to do both. And I think the stuff that I make moving forward is definitely going to be a lot more alternative, whereas I started out a lot more pop.
Mm-hmm.
But there will be pop and there will be like those elements tied into it as well.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about your promotion for a couple of songs, because the like big song that I was like, okay, like I really need to. I mean, I've been talking with you like on and off for a while, but like the I Like Girls, when you dropped that song.
Yeah.
That's a banger. By
Yes.
the way.
you.
That's
Oh my
really
gosh. Who
good.
produced that again?
That was Jared Evans.
Jared Evans. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like his own artist too, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He's super talented. He did like Hoodie Allen's projects.
Oh,
And
wow.
stuff.
I didn't
He's
even
really
know that.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, yeah, I Like Girls was the song that like I was like,
Thank
okay,
you.
wait, no, like she's like it, like the
Thank
real deal.
you.
No, seriously. So like, and I feel like your promotion for that was awesome. Like
Thank
you did a bunch of stuff on TikTok. I saw like
Mhm.
every single time I opened Instagram, I heard I Like Girls, and I'm like, that's not a bad thing. Like genuinely, it wasn't
awesome.
like if it was a bad song, then I
Okay.
would have maybe been upset, but
Yeah.
it wasn't. So
Yeah.
for you, like promotion wise, like as an independent artist, do you think is that like something that's hard for you, like
Yeah.
making a bunch of TikToks
Yeah.
or whatever?
I talked with it because I had a session right before this with Jared, and we talked about TikTok and Reels
Yeah.
and all of that. And it's like, it's so cool because artists are at a point where like we can own our masters and we
Yeah.
can find fans without like record labels and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
We can do it now, but it's also adds this pressure. We talked a lot today about like consistency.
Yeah.
And now it's like make 5 videos a day or like spend a week making enough TikToks to post for months. And like to say that's easy would be like lying.
An understatement.
At least for
I think
me.
I think a lot of people misinterpret TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, it's TikTok. We all like,
yeah.
but it's like I know people who like that's their full-time job and that's what they do because it's you put in work. It's honestly
is
like
work.
you have to edit, you gotta,
It is work.
it's a lot more work than I think a lot of people.
It's also hard. It's so fun when you
Yeah.
make one and it gets like 200,000 views and you're like, great, cool. It's so hard and
Yeah.
sad when you make one and it gets like 200 views
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're like, dang, is the song bad?
And you put your worth on
is
the
everything
numbers and
bad?
stuff.
Yeah. And so I've had to stop doing that too because the algorithm changes so much.
Yeah.
And just like you can't compare yourself.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
this person got 1 million views the same day I got 200. It's like, yes, they're super talented. You're also super talented and like
You gotta
your
remind
moment
yourself
can
that, yeah.
come.
Yeah.
Totally.
But
Yeah, and
I mean, marketing is super fun. I do all of my own marketing. I don't have a team or anything like that. And so I consider that sometimes a blessing to be able to represent myself the way I want
Mm-hmm.
to anyone on the internet that wants to listen. But
Yeah.
it can be really hard.
No,
Yeah.
I get that. That's crazy.
Do you feel like there's a bunch of different ways to market music now, especially as an independent artist. You can pay for advertisement on Instagram, whatever.
Mhm.
Pay for stereotypical advertising. You can just do TikToks. You can do
Submit
whatever.
Hub or whatever.
Yeah, Submit Hub, things like that.
Yeah.
Has there been a tactic for advertising for marketing that you feel like is there one that you feel like you've spent too much time on, and one that maybe you feel like you haven't spent, you want to look more into, you want to get more time
Yeah.
with, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
You stumped her, bro.
spending too much time. No, because I hate the answer to
Yeah.
the first question, but it's real. And like, I'll put myself on blast. It's like when I was 17, 18, 19, I had no idea how to promote music and you suffer to the people who are like, oh, I'll put you on this playlist for this amount, and you're like,
no,
oh,
totally.
this is real, and it's really not.
Yeah.
It's super fake, and like when I didn't know how to do anything, that's what I thought was the way. Looking back, I have no idea how I thought that was the way.
I did the same
but I
thing,
fell prey to that, and it was horrible, and it ruined the algorithms for me, and it ruined a lot for me. And so definitely don't do that if you get those emails, like those like playlist pushes and stuff. They're all fake. But something that I want to dive into more. I mean, honestly, what I want to dive into more is like I feel like I have a really good thing going now.
Yeah.
I spent a year working with different mentors on Facebook ads because I didn't want to pay a huge fee every time I wanted to run Facebook ads. I wanted to learn how to do it myself.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I learned how to do it myself, and I'm actually pretty good at it. Not to toot my own horn, I run ads for other artists as well.
Wow, really?
I've gotten songs to like 1 million streams from that alone.
Are you serious?
I think it is organic. I mean, you have to put in money, but you're advertising to real people. And when you think about it, it's like, well, why can't we advertise music? Like clothing companies advertise their shirts.
Yeah.
Like fucking politicians advertise their political
they
campaigns.
They advertise a lot. Yeah.
We as artists, it shouldn't be looked down on, I don't think, to like advertise. I mean, Halsey advertisements come up in my feed.
Yeah.
So I do that, and it's cool because if you run an ad to Instagram and it really resonates, you do get comments like, hey, is this on Spotify? Or like, this is trash. Or like, this is great. Like, people actually do engage with it. So that I want to just continue to do. And then PR is really cool too, because I look up to like a lot of music blogs to find, you know, artists that I really like that are more underground. And so just continuing to like submit for press and try to get on those blogs when I can, I think is a really cool way. Mm-hmm. And also, TikTok and Reels I need to do better at.
I feel like TikTok recently has been kicking my ass. I'm not gonna lie. I think our last I post every day, at least once or twice a day. I feel like our last 4 TikToks over the last 2 days have maxed out at like 60 views. Like it's ridiculous. We are getting stalked.
It's hard because the TikTok algorithm is like unforgiving.
Yeah. So
it's
true.
like I took a month off or something to move apartments, and then you come back and you have to start from nothing again.
Yeah, I think we're being punished because I took 2 days off because Micah's birthday and my birthday are the same day, like the exact same day. We're both 21.
Twins.
We're both 21 years old. We found that out exact same day. So we went to Vegas, and I didn't post while we were in Vegas, and I came back and I started posting again earlier this week. Nothing. Like absolutely nothing. You do not get a break when it comes. Like it wasn't. We weren't gone long. We were gone less than 72 hours, and I come back, just curb stop.
Yeah,
they're just destroying us on TikTok.
You got to keep going.
Yeah,
it'll come. You know.
Yeah. Do you ever find it like really like disheartening when you see like kind of like what you said? These, it's really hard not to compare yourself. Yeah. Especially when we're sitting here and we're trying to make a living off of these numbers that seemingly we have very, very little control over at the end of the day. You know, like the first TikTok we had that went viral was Micah doing a backflip. And it was after we posted a bunch of content of our set and all of that. Do you feel like it gets disheartening at times when you put time and effort into something, nothing, and then you see some dumb video with 10 million likes, 25 million views, and you're like, what is this?
It gets disheartening. I think it's also just like always everything's the long game.
Yeah.
Because even like I think to myself, oh, what if I wake up to like 2 million views on this song? Well, I have to have a plan with where I'm going to go with
That's
that,
true.
You know, and I think, I don't know. It is disheartening because you work so hard on like this song or this project or this podcast or whatever, and you want those numbers quick. But then I always just remember, like, I mean, it took so many insane people so much time, much longer than I've been in this industry to get to where they were at.
Yeah.
And like a lot of flops and a lot of like whatever Walt Disney being told he's not creative.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like, I get disheartened, but then I'm like, oh, is this what I want to do for a living? Is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? And if the answer is yes, then it's like it's not worth
second.
the algorithm telling me I shouldn't.
That's
know?
facts. Yeah. Art, not algorithms. Totally.
Art,
And
not
another thing I kind of want to touch on was you were in the hospital for a little
Yeah.
bit. And it seemed, I only know this from like Instagram stories and stuff,
Yeah.
but it seemed like kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
If you would like to talk about
Yeah,
that, you totally
totally.
can.
Yeah, that's kind of like I took time off of TikTok from that and I still haven't gotten into it. So
Yeah.
I'm so upset about it. But I know health comes first. But
Totally.
yeah, I mean, I like was super healthy my whole life. And then these past few years, I found out I have like celiac disease.
Oh, wow.
Which is like an autoimmune disorder
Yeah.
to gluten. So like my small intestine was just destroyed. I couldn't really like absorb food the way that people do. Typically, so I just have a really bad like GI, and so I got the flu at the end of June, and the flu, I got the stomach flu, and I was really sick for like a week at home, and then I thought I was getting better, and I have some cyclical vomiting syndrome as well.
Oh, man.
So the flu making me throw up on top of like the GI issues, and then I was throwing up like 300 times a day.
Oh.
Not to be like graphic. I know it sucks.
That's
but
horrible.
It like gets to the point where it got to the point where I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, and I had to be like on a feeding tube.
Wow.
So it was really scary, but it did teach me a lot about like taking care of my health in terms of, you know, if I don't function like a normal person does, then I should probably take care of myself more than the average person has to. So like maybe drink more water, get more sleep, like really watch what I eat way more than I ever had to.
So do you have to read like labels and stuff now?
Oh,
and
yeah.
All that? Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to I found out I was celiac like over a year ago. So since then it's like no wheat, no anything.
Nothing.
And wheat is in weird stuff. Like
yeah,
I can't
it's
have
all.
soy sauce.
I've always noticed that.
You know?
Yeah, why?
Soy sauce, candy.
Why?
Yeah.
Like it's in, I don't know.
That's so
It's in
Yeah.
so many things. But I mean, I can't like sit here and say I have it. Like my dad's a diabetic. I can't even imagine what he goes through. It's like so difficult to watch. So I don't have it the worst, but it was definitely really scary. And it just kind of showed me that like any little sickness that I get can like trigger a response that's just been sitting there for a while.
Well, I think one thing, I mean, when it comes to like, you know, you hear the story about like how artists will like go on tour or whatever, and you know, they're on tour, so they're probably gonna be partying and, you know, doing all that stuff, and then like halfway through they have to cancel the tour because they lose their voice or like, you know, tear apart their body, whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's one thing that if we can promote that, like, and a big thing is like, like the health and like the
and it's
health side
hard
of that.
because like, you know, I work like a day job too, so it's like you're working and then you go do a really late session and then maybe the next day you work and then you have an interview and then you work and you this, and like when you're working a job and trying to like build a business or build your career on top of that job, you can find yourself like constantly working.
Yeah.
Maybe you forget to drink water. Maybe you drink way more coffee, which actually dehydrates you. Maybe you like, you know, skip meals and then you eat like a really gross, greasy meal that makes you sick then, you know? So I've had to learn that there's no art without like your health.
100%.
And so that's what that taught me, but also just to be really like grateful of where I am, because I'm young, I'm relatively healthy, like I don't do anything that would make me crazy sick. I don't drink every night. I don't like do drugs. Like I just ended up sick from the flu, you know?
Yeah, and I think that there's a big like push, especially right now in the music industry, because we're seeing more young stars than I think we ever had, to make it now. Like push right now, make it now. You have no more time. You have to do it right now.
It's all or nothing.
When in reality, we're in our 20s. You know, like we have so much time to slow down and take care of ourselves for the long run and get there eventually. Because I feel like in music right now we have this push from especially people our age to be like, now if I'm not famous tomorrow, it's over. You know, like, so I think that's a really good perspective to have.
Well, and there have been studies like I'm on this new anxiety med that actually deals with anxiety in the gut versus in the brain.
Whoa.
So like the doctors when I was in the hospital were telling me that like there is anxiety that festers just like in your gut.
Interesting.
And when you make yourself overly anxious, it can like really affect your GI, like your stomach, which is ultimately what happened. You know, I just like drove myself into the ground from stress, and I constantly feel that way. Like I'm getting too old. I mean, because I was like young and dumb. I was like 16 saying I was going to be a millionaire by 23 with kids. By
I mean,
24.
obviously,
like,
come
no.
on. That's the life. What do you mean?
Yeah. But I don't know. I work with people who are in their 30s and are killing it and like are doing their own thing. And, you know, Sia, isn't she 40 or something? Like she's killing it.
She's quite okay. She was a whole opera singer before she had
Really?
Before she had her pop career. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that part of life, that perspective of being 30 and just living your life and being successful is kind of erased from a lot of young creatives in their ambitions. Where it's like, by 23, I'm going to have 4 Grammys, 10 platinum records,
well, plus, I mean,
and a family. You know?
Like, plus, our attention span is so short now. Like, because we're doing this all day, it just is like, that's all you can think of. Speaking of, like, you mentioned, like, working with people in your 30s and stuff. You did a music video for Don't Cry.
Yes.
That was with Anthony Palmer. Anthony Palmer. And what's his company called?
R.I.P. Daydream.
R.I.P. Daydream. How do you know them?
So that's in Utah. They're based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. And when my brother was still living there and kind of doing music in Utah, someone connected him to Anthony because he wanted to do a music video. And then they started working together super closely. And so then he came out to LA once and we filmed like 2 videos back to back.
Yeah, because I saw the videos. I didn't know if that was in Utah or if that was...
Don't Cry was in Utah. It was in St. George.
Gotcha.
And then all of the other ones we did were actually in LA because he'll fly out here sometimes.
Was that your first like music video experience?
Don't Cry was not. I did one for Dedicated to You. That was my first.
That was off the EP, right?
Yeah.
And then how much I direct music videos and shoot music videos. And I know some artists come and they have a whole vision for how they want it to go. And some artists show up and they're like,
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here. You know, how much control do you feel like you need to have over, or not even control, how much input do you feel like you feel comfortable with for a project with your name on it?
Yeah.
You know, like for a music video, do you just like, Anthony, show me what you got. You know, I'm yours. Do what you want. You know, film me. Do it. You know, or do you come in? You have your ideas. You know, we're gonna cut halfway through and go into the black and white, the neon. You know, like how much do you bring and how much do you leave to the creative to kind of take and run with?
I'd say there's like a bit of both. Lately, I'm mainly like, I trust the people who are making the videos so much, and I like don't pretend to be a director or like a video. Like that's a tough gig and something that I'm not yet. I did direct a few of my first videos because I had like a vision that I really wanted to get through, and I just hired a videographer. Actually, I didn't hire a director. But then once I started working with directors, I was like, whoa, you guys are incredibly talented. You have your own vision. Like, you bring my song to light in a way that, like, I didn't even think about before. So, honestly, a lot of my last videos have been really at the liberty of, like, Anthony or Isaiah or whatever, like, ideas that I'm always like, hey, this is my, like, we just shot a video for I Like Girls.
Yeah.
And I told Isaiah, like, this is, like, pretty much the vision I want. And so we went with that vision, but he totally like fleshed it out and directed it and turned it into what he envisioned as well.
Yeah, that's cool. That's not out. That's still in the works,
That's coming out like this month.
Oh, wow.
So,
Well, I believe that we are nearly out of time. However, we always end with a final question. And that is, you said you moved here 3 years ago.
Yes.
So why don't we go back 5 years to Eleanor out in Utah.
I was in Connecticut.
Out in Connecticut, hanging
I went to
out.
high school in Connecticut.
Okay. Hanging out in Connecticut, making music, writing.
Yeah.
Not yet. You said not quite yet making that move to artists or like being an artist in and of yourself.
Yeah.
If you could appear in front of you right now, and you have 30 seconds to say something before the time vortex closes.
Okay.
What are you saying? 30 seconds to you yourself 5 years ago?
I would say it gets better as long as you listen to the voices in your head and not what everybody else is telling you need to do to find that happiness or to get to a certain point in life, and like really trust yourself, because it's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
But it does get better once you like move out and you see, and that vision like comes to fruition, and you'll be a lot happier than you are now.
That's dope. And also, you should maybe tell yourself to cut back on gluten.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Yeah,
You're also gluten free.
Don't do
Just
it.
get ahead of that now.
Your life
so-
gets worse with food.
Aw.
Oh no.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on. This was fun.
It was so fun. Thank you.
If you have, so we have now this camera.
Yes, it's this one.
Yeah.
now.
We have this camera. You're not in that camera, but these two cameras. Anything you would like to promote? Anything you have coming out right now? You know, your Instagram, your website. This camera.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just dropped a rock song called She Hates Me. It's a really, really dope song about imperfections and finding yourself as a young adult, in like despite making bad choices sometimes. So that one's really cool. Go check it out on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, whatever. And I also just dropped I Like Girls, the music video. So check that out in the description. And yeah.
Yeah, and then do you have an Instagram? Anything you want
Oh, yeah.
to plug?
My Instagram is at Eleanor Kingston.
Do you want to perhaps
Find me there.
spell that?
Yes.
Because people we found from putting these out, people are not good at spelling.
Okay,
I'm
that's
not
fair.
good at spelling, but I know how to spell.
It's at ELEANORKINGSTON.
Awesome.
My name.
That's it. The name of the game.
And Mr. Micah, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Micah W Music. That's about it. Try and follow me on Twitter because I need a Twitter following.
Micah has been talking to me about being famous on Twitter.
Dude,
for
I want a Twitter following
years.
so bad.
Like
just
since
having
we
like,
met, he's been like, dude, I'm gonna be famous on. I want to be famous on Twitter.
but like only dad jokes.
That'd
though,
be so awesome.
You know? Do you have a Twitter? Do you
Yeah, it's shameful. I don't
Oh,
have
no.
many followers.
We don't talk-
It's
but that's the
pretty
thing.
Shameful.
I mean, you know,
Twitter.
it's all about the fun. But Finlay, where can everyone find you?
you can find me on Instagram at Finlay did it, because who did it?
Finlay
Finlay did
did
it. And that's about it. I don't use anything else. You can find Roseflower Records at Roseflower Records on Instagram, at Roseflower Records on Twitter. Because fuck Twitter. They wouldn't let us. They said Roseflower was too long, and they gave us Roflow, which sure.
Roflow.
Sure, whatever. www.roseflowerrecords.com. Reach out to any of us for interviews, music video booking,
Yes.
anything in between.
Boom.
Logan does amazing vocal coaching. He's on the website. You can go have a look at him. We've got a new episode of Roseflower Live out every Friday until the end of the year, I think it is at this
Dang, bro.
point. Something like
We're
that.
grinding.
It's going pretty hard. New episodes of Roseflower Radio out every other Tuesday.
Yes.
I don't know who's next week. We haven't filmed it yet. You guys will find out.
Boop.
Thank you for joining us. This has been Roseflower Radio, and we will see you next episode. Goodbye.
Peace.